Hey, this is Soma79 with a special announcement. My new Mega Mix is up. My MF Doom Mega Mix, Oxidation Moons Day, is now available. Go to www.soma79.com/doom to check it out. It's a 30-minute mix that I did of MF Doom raps over my own beats. I really enjoy it. I hope you really enjoy it. So check it out. Tell a friend. Peace. Hey, welcome to the newest episode of the Articulate podcast. I am your host, Soma79. Thank you so much for joining me. My guest today is Phoenix, Arizona rapper Unorthodocks, and I'm super excited to share this episode with you. So this was another part in my series where I just start thinking about cities in the country where I never hear about rappers being from, and I try to find somebody in that city who can tell me what the scene is like there. And Phoenix was an interesting one because it is kind of crazy that you don't really hear about rappers from Arizona. Unorthodox points out in this interview that it's like the fourth biggest city in the country, and we really struggle to come up with any real big hip hop names from there. And I don't know. So we get down to the bottom of that a little bit here, and he's just a really cool, talented dude. He understands that he's got to do every area of his career, his rap career, to really make it, and he's gotten really good at that. And it's always exciting to talk to somebody who's super passionate and just kind of is excited about like the business and getting himself out there as much as he is the creative part. So this was a really fun conversation. I look forward to having him back on, and maybe work on some music together. I got some ideas that we talked about a little bit that I'll be sending his way soon. So all right, thank you so much. Make sure you follow me, follow Unorthodox, check out my Oxidation Moons Day MF Doom mashup that I released. It's 30 minutes of my beats under MF Doom raps. You can find that at soma79.com/doom. And depending on when this comes out, we may be time for my EP, Quiet Life Loud Friends, Soma79 and Pillsy Beats. Just finishing up the cover here today, but who knows when stuff will get released. But the EP, Quiet Life Loud Friends, Soma79 and Pillsy Beats. Featuring appearances by Copyright, Honest, my man Rick Seaholm, previous guest, all types of good stuff. Jay Sinatra, previous guest. So yeah, make sure you check that out if you have not already, and if it's available yet. Who knows? Time is a construct. Have a great one, everybody.
And with wings clipped, quick to flip manuscripts, cause her man went from damaged kid to damn he's rich, but she still can't stand the way he manages to never put nickels in the can for the cancer kids. Plus he cheats at cornhole and brags that he won.
Hey, welcome to the Articulate Ox podcast. I am your host, Soma79. My guest today is rapper Unorthodocks from Phoenix, Arizona. What's going on today, man?
Hey, what up, Soma? Thank you for having me on, bro. I really appreciate it. I love the platform you got here, bro.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I'm really digging your music. I got one thing that's kind of funny about, I got your tape here, Draco by the Bedside. One thing that's kind of funny about the rappers that have in this podcast, there's been a bunch of very weird coincidences, like things that happen around episodes or stuff like that. And this one, I guess you only made 28 of these, and I got number 4, and my birthday is 4/28. So 4/28, so almost 79. So I thought that was kind of weird. Like that's like the third or fourth time something like that has happened with somebody that I'm interviewing from different parts of the country.
I love that, bro. Yeah, I know. I just numbered those in the order the orders came in. So you were the 4th one to pre-order, and you rocked with me through all the bullshit, all the treachery I had to go through to get those tapes made. This is my first time doing a tape release, only my second time doing a physical release. So, yeah. And I do it all like in-house. Everything I do, from the video, merch, audio, it's like all in-house, except for the beats. Even those are in-house, you know what I mean? Those are the homies. But you always gotta, it's a new battle, a new frontier every time you learn a new task, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. And it was funny. So I was in with this shout out to this record store called Joe's Albums that's down here, who just told me they let me do a video down there. So that's coming soon. But I was down there the other day looking through some vinyl, and I heard a couple of older dudes be like, "I can't believe people listen to cassettes anymore. Why would they ever do that? They just want it for the novelty." And I was like, "Nah, hip hop people listen to cassettes because I put you on this cassette, and like." It really took me back to that feeling of listening to cassettes. Like it felt like it belonged in that medium for whatever it meant. And like it all blended well. And then like I really dug this album, man. It was like I didn't really know much of your stuff when I ordered it. I ordered this so that I could get to know what your stuff sounded like because I found you on Instagram and I love this, man. I'd recommend this to anybody.
Yo, man, thank you so much, bro. I really appreciate that for real, man.
Just because you
And
can't
yeah,
really
you're right,
see
bro.
it.
Tape is.
We got the
Oh yeah,
poster.
you got the poster with it too. Excellent. See, that was the pre-order bonus. That was just for the people who pre-ordered and stuck with me. I went and got those like specially made just because I was like, I don't want to just send people you know, whatever. And it's like, I don't know, I'm not creative enough to come up with like, 28 different personalized messages and stuff to
Yeah.
some people I don't know. So I'm like, let me just throw like an extra piece of merch in there. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm rocking the shirt right here. You know what I mean? About trying
Very
to flex
cool,
it.
man.
Yeah.
So
But yeah,
where
man,
so
tape,
where
that's
did this
like the
album come
original
from?
medium, so I feel you. But my
Yeah,
my bad, bro. Go, continue.
no problem. So where did the idea for this album come from?
Um, so the album itself, like the music, it was just basically Van Cleef just started sending me beats. Like they just hit me up. I kind of knew them from a while back. They went under a few different aliases and whatnot. Um, but yeah, they kind of rebranded as Van Cleef, hit me off with a bunch of beats. And I was just really into the vibe that they were providing at that time of just like a lot of not all the beats on Draco are drumless, but there's like a couple of them. And like all the beats are just like loops. You know what I mean? It's not really like lavish, like, don't even want to say overproduced because it doesn't have to be overproduced, but it's very minimalist. That's really what the word I'm looking for. It's very minimalist kind of style of production, but still very nice textures and soundscapes, which
It's
to me
got
is difficult to
drums,
do.
which is
What
like
was that?
a lot of the minimalist stuff that like I hear doesn't have drums, but your stuff still has some nice like it's got a nice bop to it. It's got a nice combination of like modern and like old school.
Thank you. And sometimes even the drums can be so minimalist that I have to go back and I forget which tracks on the album do and don't have drums because a lot of
Right.
it's real, it has that rhythm to it, but it doesn't even like hit you like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, their production was incredible. You know what I mean? So basically a beat pack turned into an album, more or less. You know what I mean? They were just sending me so much good stuff that I took a couple extras off their Bandcamp, but I think like half the album was like one beat pack. They just send me like, yo, anything you like in here? I was like, motherfucker, I like all of these.
Yeah.
Give me all of these. And then we're gonna do some more after this. We even got some more tracks we got in the cut.
Yeah. It's funny. I have the same thing with my producer Pilsy. I'm dropping 2 EPs with him. One Quiet Life, Loud Friends coming out around Halloween, I think. Which I should mention. I think this episode will be out around Halloween. So we'll
Yeah,
talk some spooky
it's
shit.
October right now.
Yep, it is October. The leaves still in the trees. But
Yeah, exactly.
um it's do you find now that it's easier to get beats, like really good quality beats? Because I for years like I'd make my own beats, but I'd kind of make beats that didn't really match my style, and I always preferred to rap over somebody else's. And now I feel like the beats I'm getting from producers, I'm getting way more and they're way better. And a lot of people would lie to me in the past about something being sample free or like whatever, and now they actually aren't lying. So like, are you finding you're getting better beats?
I'm gonna be honest, it's always been really easy for me to get beats. Like, I mean,
Maybe I
being
just don't
good
have
at
any friends.
honestly, yo, I didn't either when I started at this. But also, what time are you referring to that you feel like it was difficult to make beat? That was
Well,
difficult to find
I
beats.
guess maybe I'm thinking like I guess I did think about a 10-year gap up in rapping. I always forget that. So like I'm probably thinking about the late like 20 aughts. So scrap that.
Okay, wait. You said late? Oh, late 20 aughts. Okay, no, but that's why I'm saying you might no. That's just the time because that was before I was even really coming up. That was like right before I actually like. I've been recording music, playing shows for about 10 years now, just about 10 years. So I came around at the time like I was there right like as SoundCloud was like popping off. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Before like SoundCloud rap was like even a thing. Like just the influx of everyone, I mean, shit, when I say 10 years ago, I was, like 15, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
It's funny. So like,
everyone my age was jumping on there because it became so easy to make shit that there's a lot of bullshit, but there's a lot of talented people in the mix also if you have time to sift through a lot of it.
oh, definitely. Yeah. It's funny. So, like, I kind of quit rapping for a while around 2009 or 10. And it was because the market was so flooded and you couldn't sell anything to anybody anymore. And the CD industry was falling off a cliff and nobody knew what to do. And it was like, it seems like SoundCloud was the thing that sort of gave hip hop some new breath because it was kind of a rough few years for independent hip hop around then. I think that maybe kind of helped bring it back.
Bro, I actually speak on that similar type of shit, bro. I swear when I was getting into music, when I was getting into like recording, I argue with my man Salute. Shout out to Salute, my co-founder of Rarified Air, our collective. But I go back and forth with him because I'm like, I think that was such a weak era of rap that like 2010 to like 2015. And obviously, don't take me out of character. There was good stuff going on there. I was listening to like Billy Woods a lot. I honestly was listening to a lot of experimental music because like Death Grips and like that type of stuff. Because I've been listening to rap since I was a little kid, like as far as I can remember, and like been like a rap nerd. So like by the time I was like in high school, like I'd heard so much fucking rap. I'd heard, Illmatic, Mobb Deep, 36 Chambers. I'd seen Wu-Tang live like twice before I even went to high school. So by the time I was there, it was like, yeah, it just seemed like things were very stagnant. So I was just listening to like experimental stuff. But then I feel like hip hop as like a genre and a culture maybe got a little bit more acclimated to like, the digital SoundCloud sort of waves. I feel like there were kind of movements missing in that period. You had like Odd Future,
Yeah,
but
I was just thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, but outside of that, it was like it just felt like there was a bunch of random bullshit going on. And some of it was amazing. Like even my man Billy Woods, like he was making incredible music, but it wasn't he didn't really have like a clique or like anything he was really connected to. Like he wasn't doing albums with Alchemist back then or like none of that. You look at the producer list, it's all like cats you haven't heard of,
Right. Yeah.
And it was a lot of that. Everyone's just kind of in their own like circles. It didn't seem like there was a lot of cohesion. Now everyone's working together, which is beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It's great. That's one thing too, that it's like being able to meet these people from around the world. Like I just did a song with someone from Alaska. I work with someone from San Antonio all the time. It's so friggin' easy now, man.
Yeah, I saw you had the battle rapper from Juneau, didn't you?
Yeah. So
Yeah, I saw some of that.
yeah, he's that dude. That dude's so talented. Wordplay to Fly SMT. What's up, man? So what are your earliest memories of hip hop? Is there anything in particular when you remember hearing it for like the first time?
I can't say hearing it for like the first time because that's just like
That's probably
yeah,
like,
no, exactly. I'm just putting that because some people they really do, and that's part of why I can't relate to certain people that want to come along later, which is fine. It's like a lot of people they find themselves in high school and their adolescence and stuff like that. Some people don't even find themselves till later. But that's the thing. It's like I don't even remember the first time I heard hip hop, and I didn't grow up in like a hip hop household like necessarily. I grew up with parents listen to like classic rock and like R&B and shit like that. But to answer your question, I would say the earliest, like I guess I can say I remember like falling in love with hip hop more or less was playing like early like NBA live games and shit. Cause I was like same way I can't remember falling when I found hip hop. I remember finding basketball, but I was a huge basketball fan from like like diapers basically. So I bought like I remember having like NBA Live 2004, the one with Vince Carter on the cover. And when he played with the Raptors. And those games come out like the year before. So it was like 2003. So I'm like 7 or 8 or some shit like that.
I had some of those soundtracks. I had some of those CDs back then, like the soundtracks.
Oh, that's good. You have CD copies of some of like the NBA Live soundtracks?
I have one of them. I can picture the cover. It's got a basketball hoop on it, shockingly. I remember Jean Grey's on it. I want to say maybe Percy P's on it. I'll dig it up and send you a picture of it.
I want to know what game that is because I know for a fact that's one I did not have because I have all these soundtracks like memorized. So I'm interested. But like, bro, all those games.
what's it actually called?
I had NBA Live, but NBA, I never remember hearing Jean Grey or Percy P in NBA
Maybe I'm
Live. I could.
confusing it with like a different. Maybe confusing it with a different.
Oh, exactly. No, I'm not even pulling your card right now. I'm like, I want to hear this soundtrack now because I
Yeah.
love those like early. Because bro, even not because NBA Live 2004, I was just gonna say it had fucking Mobb Deep, The Game, Outkast, Dilated Peoples. There
Yeah.
was a few more on there. There was like some underground type of shit. But then I also remember like NBA Live 2K5, the old 2K ones. That bro,
This
they
might have been
had
a 2K one.
it may have been 2K.
I'm
The only
almost
2K
positive
I
it
had
was.
growing up.
I'm not a big video game person, so I don't know like a ton about this stuff.
No, there you go. These are like my three strong suits right now: video games, hip hop,
What
and
about NBA
basketball.
Jam? I do have NBA Jam right down here. We can plug it in and play that right
Oh,
now.
bro, in NBA 2K5, one of the ones I had growing up, it was like a whole Bay Area like hip hop soundtrack. And bro, when you could enter a cheat code and you could play as hieroglyphics as an unlockable
Oh
team.
shit. That's
They had
awesome.
all like 8 or 9 dudes or whatever. But yeah, no, there was a lot of really it's a shame now when I don't play the 2Ks as much now, but now I see a lot of like it's a lot of Lil Uzi Vert and J. Cole and like really
Yeah.
big artists where it was like it was kind of cool back then where it was like it was very, very independent. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, there were big ones, but I found Dilated Peoples, Talib
Oh
Kweli,
yeah.
The Coup, bro, Army of the Pharaohs. The first time I ever heard like Jedi mind tricks or anything.
Yeah.
NBA Live
That's
oh
my
7.
that's out here. That's like that's
Like
those reference.
you want to ask how the fuck they ended up putting Jedi mind tricks in like a rated E for everyone game and
I
like
I
bro,
know.
they pulled it off. They pulled it off. The song was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, no,
Tony Hawk was the one for like for me. Like there was
Tony
so
Hawk
many
was
of
it for
those.
so many people. I
Yeah.
never had Tony Hawk growing up, only for
Love
the
that shit.
fact that every single one of my friends had it. So I would just go to
Yeah.
their houses to play it. But it was so funny because I remember when I got to like middle school, I like had a friend who's no longer with us, unfortunately, rest in peace. But he was listening to music from all like the Tony Hawk games, and we found that we had a lot of like artists in common from just
Yeah.
like our different video games and shit, like hieroglyphics and
That's the thing about a
Deltron and
video
stuff like
game is
that.
like you're gonna hear the song so many times, so you're either gonna learn to love it or you're gonna learn to hate it. Like it's like
Exactly, bro.
yeah,
I would go in and turn the shit off that I wasn't fucking with. But there was
yeah,
like almost never those songs. Like it was so and it was all rap. You know what I mean? There was
yeah,
like no Tony Hawk, they had a really varied soundtrack. But
yeah.
those NBA
They
games, bro, it was like
yeah,
exclusively underground hip hop. Because I bet it was a lot cheaper to get those sorts of
it
licenses from
probably
like
was.
Merce and those types of people
They
versus
probably understood their audience too. I think. I mean,
yeah.
it's not surprising there's more punk songs on like the Tony Hawk one.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like they
no,
probably
totally.
yeah.
But I feel like now I feel like they have such huge budgets for like
Oh
those games
god,
are
yeah,
like multi-billion-dollar things now that it's like it's nothing to fucking, go get J. Cole and Uzi and like all these people. Back then it was like, I don't know, either that or it was just like some Adult Swim shit where the people who made those soundtracks just had like amazing taste because they definitely helped set my taste for the next
Adult
20
Swim
years.
is another huge one. I'm going to get a Danger Doom on. I'm going to get a Space Ghost tattoo with Danger Doom's mask on it. I
Oh, hell yeah.
Adult Swim is to me the ultimate. Like just the
So like with a
feel of
mouse, so
it.
like Space Ghost with like a mouse head.
Yeah, with like the Doom mask with the ears coming off. There's a
Okay, yeah,
cover from a
exactly.
magazine back then that I remembered and I dug it up and I'm gonna get that. It's gonna be right in the
Yeah,
front
that's
of
what
my
I was
shin.
picturing.
Yeah, it's I love that shit. That stuff is absolutely magical to me. Like it's
Yeah, it really is.
yeah. The way
That's what
that
I fell in love with was that like those like mid 2000s. I started listening to like 90s rap and shit like later, but like mid 2000s, like even the mainstream rap and the underground rap of that era, that was like what ingratiated me, really. Like that's my roots right there.
yeah, that whole Adult Swim thing taught me a few things. It taught me that and you can do anything, because if you can look at like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, which I love, but like I'm sorry, anybody could make that. Anybody with like the creativity, no, but like the actual assembling it, it makes you go,
Yeah.
yes, I could do this. If I had an idea as good as this, I could do this. And that gets you halfway there if you're a motivated person. And Adult Swim opened, I think, so many people's eyes going, this is something that you can do. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be amazing, in objective quality, but like you
Yeah,
can
and
do
production,
something
yeah.
right. And it can be weird as fuck. Like there's so much amazing stuff in Adult Swim I haven't even seen that I don't know. It to me it's and also the fact that it's on the same channel as the Cartoon Network. It always blows my mind that they get away with that. It's sort of like putting like the knives right next to the cookies. Like, you know, if you have kids. Like it's always been funny. Like it always feels like they're really pulling one over like somebody. I don't
Yeah, I
know.
never knew how that shit worked. And apparently, I think someone was telling me they have like almost like independence or like autonomy from like Turner or like whoever owns Cartoon Network. I don't know if that's true or not, but I heard something like that. They also, I mean, they did so much for hip hop and like the bumps and all that sort of stuff, the music
Yeah.
they were playing in segments. But I feel like they basically birthed meme culture too, just like all that like
Yeah.
absurdist like Tim and Eric like type of shit. Like that's like the default like sense of humor for like people my age and younger. Basically, is like
Yeah.
weird like random just like absurdist, surrealist like type of shit. But
Every
yeah, it's
year at
crazy how you see
Christmas I
something
still
that small
watch.
can be so impactful.
Yeah. Every year at Christmas, I still watch the Doom drinking the chalice and doing all those bumpers and stuff. Like that to me is like the Christmas season. I remember
You
watching
got
that for the
to
first
come
time
come
when it was
December.
live.
Come December, we got like a chalkboard like in the kitchen, and yeah, last year my girl did like a like Doom and like a Santa fit like type of thing, like threw
Oh,
it up there for
nice.
like December. So I feel you, bro. Doom's a Christmas icon at this point.
Yeah,
Many different icons, but a Christmas icon as well.
I know. Yeah, that was I Doom is yeah. I actually just released the Doom mix. I remixed like 12 Doom songs under my own beats and I mixed them together into one 30-minute mega mix and I dropped it the other day.
I
It was
saw that. I swear
fun.
I've seen it. Have you? I swear I've seen that artwork before.
Yeah, that artwork it was originally just a t-shirt. There's like not even a t-shirt. Like I made one t-shirt of it, but it was just like a design I did. It's like a because I have this character Ox that I use for everything. So it was a mashup of that. And then when I decided I just did this thing on the spur of the moment, I was like, oh, I already have art. I might as well just use that. And like,
Bro,
you know,
that awoke in a memory for me, bro. I'm like, this is like bringing back early
old
Instagram
fun.
memories for me. I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit, you're that guy from back in the day.
Oh
It was
yeah.
like a connect the dot moments.
Yeah. It was fun. I really love your logo because that was one of the things like, you know, maybe I just love ice cream and orange because I could take a look at it. Very cool. Yeah, this is a really dope looking logo. That was one thing that I definitely caught my eye when I saw your profile. So did you design this yourself or
Uh, Give me 1 second. I'm getting a helicopter fly over.
that's all right. I'm just trying to look at
All
why my
right,
girlfriend
that's
sent me
good.
96 texts at once. Like this is how good of a girlfriend I have. She sent me a text that says RZA announces symphony shows celebrating 30th anniversary of Wu-Tang Clan's 36 Chambers. Yeah, make sure
Yo,
you click on that later.
that's tight.
Yeah,
That's tight. But okay, so the logo you're asking,
yeah,
so that actually just came together. One of my homies back in high school, who basically is my one homie I still have from high school to this day. He's just a really talented artist in like a lot of different ways, but he's always been good at drawing and shit. And I had the name, like I said, I've been doing this shit I've been rapping as Docs Unorthodocks for 10, yeah, about 10 years at this point. So he just texted me that like sketch like one day. Like I still have the photo somewhere of like he like just drew it on like, paper
yeah,
with like colored pencils or some shit. And I sat on it for a little bit, and then eventually one of my homies, before I really got into doing any type of graphic design, but I just sent it to a homie, and then he basically like digitized it like
yeah,
in
yeah,
Illustrator, like turned it into digital art, and he did a really good job with it too. That
yeah,
I've made no alterations to what he did. Like I think I got the digital version probably like a few years after that. I probably had the digital version for like 7 years or something like that. But
yeah.
I've
That's
never had to touch it or anything. I appreciate that, bro. Yeah, it was just like a random. Yeah, bro. My homie designed that when we were like 15 or something, and we're still rocking with it.
oh man, it's much better than when I was drawing when I was 15.
Bro, he's a
So
he's a he's a god, bro.
yeah, so I you don't hear a whole lot about the Arizona hip hop scene. And that's part of what I was trying to do is reach out to areas where I'm like, well, there's got to be a hip hop scene in the city. There's enough people, so what is it like? So like, what what is the history of like not that's kind of a big question, but like who are
No,
like
we
the
can
sort
tackle
of
whatever, bro.
Arizona hip hop legends or whatever, and like what is the scene like out there?
Man, it's a really interesting scene, bro. Not that'll be I'll just open it in a vague way like that. When people like there's a reason. No one knows what the reason is, but there's a reason that like you don't hear of rappers like coming out of Phoenix. By the way, there's a lot of rappers out of here, but there's literally it's been like a debate monologue out here as long as I've been in the game as to, why nobody pops out here. And there's a lot of different like factors you could chalk it up to. But I will say I know a lot of the like OGs out here and shit. So a lot of people that showed me love early on in the scene out here were a lot of the OGs. And we had people getting signed to like majors and shit like back in the day. Like there's a cat out here he's still out here rapping. There was a cat Prophetico who was signed to Sony in like the late 90s, early 2000s. He actually sued Sony and to get his masters back because they were like shelving him basically. Successfully as an independent artist, sued Sony, got his masters back.
Wow.
Another cat, a homie of mine out here, one of my OGs, Joe Baggs, was in a group called the Society of Invisibles, and they inked a deal with Baby
name.
Grand. Yeah, good name. Yeah, no, they say at TSOI. Yeah, they're definitely still active out here. But they were signed to Baby Grand. Who,
that Gene
remember like
Gray's
Jizza, like Talib Kweli, a lot of those people were like putting stuff out on there around that time. This was like 2006, a little bit later. And leading up to that, they sold to like they got a little bit of buzz like in the region type of shit, and they sold 5,000 records out the trunk like leading up to that, like in the early 2000s, which is impressive to me because I couldn't see anyone. Yeah. I couldn't see anyone doing like, bro, like
how often have you ever bought something out of somebody's trunk? Like right when you're selling it out of a trunk, it's like you're at a disadvantage.
Bro, like you got some motion to like do some shit. Like you got your shit together. Trust me, I'm just starting to get into the pop-ups and stuff. And I do a lot of my stuff in very low quantities right now. And it's just trying to, get through those. The idea of doing like 5,000 in like the course of a year, like out the trunk. Yeah. Like that's crazy. And I couldn't see anyone doing that right now. I mean, myself included. So I'm not like disrespecting nobody. But to me, it shows that I'll put it this way. There definitely wasn't no 5,000 rappers in Phoenix at that point. Right. So this isn't like you selling it to your fucking rappers, right? Like exactly. No, this isn't like, when someone buys onto a show and like they sell the tickets, like, their cousins and like this and that, bro. You don't have that many cousins in this. That if you selling like 1,000, multiples of thousands, like you doing it. So basically, I say this to say I know people who still live here in Phoenix that used to be A&Rs for Tommy Boy and Arista and shit like that. Yeah. We don't. There isn't. I mean, A&Rs aren't really like the thing anymore. But it's like, let's say, you won't like run into people in Phoenix nowadays that like work for Complex or like basically no one who's in Phoenix is connected to shit outside of Phoenix. The only person I can kind of say is like the podcaster Bootleg Kev, who a lot of people are probably familiar with. I know that is. He's based in Vegas now, I think, but he's from here and he actually like reps Phoenix. Another group from here is Injury Reserve. They're from Tempe. They're actually really big as of late, but they do not rep like the scene like at all. Like they kind of shit on the scene when they blew up. And they don't really make any references to like being from Tempe, Phoenix area, nothing like that. Tempe is like it's part of the Phoenix metropolitan. You know what I mean?
I had XL the Beast, who's a Boston hip hop legend on. We were talking a little bit why for a long time there were no Boston rappers that blew. I mean, it was really our biggest claim to fame was Guru from Gangstar, but he moved to Brooklyn and he called that his home for most of his life.
That's true because I know they distanced themselves from that. Sorry, continue
cool, though. No, and then Premier is from Texas, so like, but like. That's true. It was really and he said what the reason kind of was is because anybody who got even a little buzz just moved to New York because it was just 3 hours down the road. So is it that you think a lot of people from Arizona that there's someplace not far where they're like, if I'm going to do this, I might as well just live in LA or might as well just live in,
No, because you could be in LA and you could still rep Phoenix, or if you don't try to rep Phoenix, people from here are still going to know. People will be like, yo, you know what that dude from LA? You know, he's really from Phoenix, right? Nah, it's so funny, bro. You see people, and I'm not going to name names, but anyone in Phoenix knows this to be true. You see the inverse happening, bro. You see people coming from New York and LA who are like, oh, well, maybe I can get my shit off over here in like not as competitive market, and they try to like claim Phoenix. They'll be like, yeah, bro, no, I'm from here. I just, I moved here when I was like 16 or 17. I'm like, bro, you were not from here then.
Let's see a yearbook photo.
Bro, if you came out here like early teenage years, like I might give it to you. Like you kind of in the middle. You know what I mean? Like if you like
degrees, you don't have a tan.
Yeah. No, exactly. I'm like, so it's funny. You see more of the opposite, I feel like. You see people coming here and trying to like, fly the Phoenix flag and shit. Which is interesting. Like my boy Salute, he moved here when he was 20. He don't like, he's a Phoenix hip hop artist now, but like he reps Carolina. Like that's where he's from. Like he has a strong Southern accent. Like he just, this is where he's based now. And that's how we got connected. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's a lot. I'll say this to not to, try to sum it up or paint a little bit more of a concise picture. There's a lot of talent out here. It's just, there's not much of like a scene, and honestly COVID fucked it up even more, where it's just like a lot of the places that used to do shows like stopped doing shows during COVID, and then just like for whatever reason people don't like hosting shows, people don't like participating in the community, doing arts, like like as far as music goes, especially hip-hop, like in Phoenix. So basically people just use it as an excuse to not like bring the shows back. They're just like, this is fine. So a lot of places you can't do shows, and the city's so big, like it's huge. Like Phoenix is like geographically like the size of LA. And then there's other Mesa, Phoenix, Scottsdale, it's huge. So people live really far apart from each other. It's not that, because I've spent a lot of time on the East Coast, so I know how different it is. That you guys have like, I can chalk it up this way. This paints a very picture of not just the scene here, but what the culture is like in Phoenix versus other cities. If you live on the East Coast, like especially if you live in New York, I can speak for, because that's where I've spent a lot of time. You almost are certainly taking the subway like to work or just like in your general daily life. Right. So by default, you're spending so much of your time, all your commute time, around other people, all different types of walks of life, crazy people, quiet people, but you're always like around people. You're always in the mix. Like that's kind of like your default. It's kind of like it's the unusual for you to finally have that alone time. You probably got roommates. You don't even have alone time at the house. You know what I mean?
And your apartment is small and the walls are thin.
Exactly. I was
gonna literally booking a hotel in New York City like right before we got on this, because we're going down there to see a concert in a few weeks, and I'm reminding what it's like to be in New York City. Like
I love going to I love visiting New York. And honestly, you got to have roommates everywhere now, even in Phoenix. Phoenix is the cost of living here is rising in Phoenix faster than anywhere in the country right now. Everyone's coming here. Phoenix is the 4th biggest city in America after New York, LA, Chicago.
Is it really? Holy shit.
Yeah, bro. We're like us in I think it's like Houston or something. We're pretty much right at the like same type of level. And then when you include like I said, those the whole metro, the surrounding cities, it's like I don't want to say 5, but it's like 3.5 million people or something out here, but just spread the fuck out. So my bad. To keep it on top, I'm just saying basically when you're in New York, you're always doing the subway, you're always around people. Out here, everyone has a car. Like public transportation damn near doesn't exist. So you're spending all your time just in your car, on your own, listening to your same music, your same podcasts. And people just become that becomes the default, because then if you're spending all your time at home, you just buy nicer shit for your house. You know what I mean? You buy a big TV. Now you have even more reason to sit at home. Well, why would I go out? I just bought a PS5 and a fucking TV, right. So the culture out here is just like in general, like people don't I'm painting with a broad brush. Like I don't want people to get the wrong idea. Like haven't been here.
You're talking about. Like I even saw that too. Like we have one venue here that started doing hip hop shows. They did a great one with Esoteric and Lord Finesse. They did another one with Large Professor and J Live and like a bunch of other like Fly Anakin was up here and shit. And like I go to the shows and like I'm like this show looks pretty packed. And then I went to go see a rock show there and it was actually packed. And I'm like, oh, this is what a real scene looks like when it's supporting. And it's like I see the same thing, that hip hop people don't come out so often, especially after COVID and stuff. But I think part of it is that a lot of these shows, like you mentioned, sort of like the bringer shows before, unfortunately, the opening acts, when it's too many people that are only on stage because they sold tickets to their cousins, like that's gonna discourage people from showing up. And then I've been to like Jizza shows. Like, man, I'm old. Like if he goes on at like midnight, I'm like, good lord, man, this is like, where's he at the energy?
Bro, no, that's insane. Bro, the older acts that don't go on until then, that's insane. Like I'm usually like, one of the youngest people at those types of shows. And I'm like, bro, other people got kids and jobs and stuff, bro. Like, you got to realize your fan base is not 26 anymore. Like, unless you're Juicy J or some shit, like, who's just always maintained like a grip on the youth. Like, bro, no, like people ain't trying to do all that shit. I don't even got kids and I'm not trying to do all that. I'm trying to like hit a bar after or something. Like, even if I'm not sleepy, like, I'm not trying to be fucking sitting here till midnight. But nah, honestly, there was a lot. And that's another thing. There was a movement, not a movement, a company basically, like a promoters who basically they kind of took over the scene, and that's all you were seeing out here was everything became on a bigger level. There were still local showcases going on, but when I'm a little kid going to Wu-Tang shows when I'm like 12, 13 years old, I figure I don't know how the game works. I figure the people who are opening up for Wu-Tang, they must be the best rappers in the city.
Right.
Like that's my perception.
Or they're
at like
friends
13.
with Wu-Tang or something, or like they know, or something like that.
Yeah, like you don't realize people just buy on. So growing up, I didn't even realize people were like rapping out here or were any good. You know what I mean? Because all I was seeing was the pay to play shit. And I know I'm not the only one, because it's interesting that you say about like hip hop heads not coming out or this or that. It's funny though, because the city's so big that there's a lot of people here, and I'll go to like. You remember the NBA Leather Tour from like a year or two ago?
Yeah.
Where it was Boldy, Action Bronson, Earl Sweatshirt, and The Alchemist. Bro, they played at the Marquee over in Tempe, which I want to say it's like 2,000 or something like that, like 2,000 capacity. Yeah. But that bitch was definitely sold out, and the fucking line was wrapping around the block with like all types of merch, everyone decked out. Mad young folks there. Earl got he got a younger following, but it was crazy because that was actually the thing though, because I was there like doing some networking, handing out some cards, doing that type of shit. And it was a really interesting experience because what I would always do, I would go up to folks and I would say to them like, hey, who you here to see tonight? And it was interesting to me that even the younger cats, they weren't just there to see Earl. They'd be like, oh, Boldy, Action, this and that. Like they listen to all the shit. Like they were like some real hip hop heads. They weren't just like kids who watch Loader Squad or like, that type of shit. And I'd be like, yeah, word, that's dope. Hey, do y'all listen to any local hip hop? Bro, not a single person in the line like knew of any local hip hop. And they weren't like arrogant about it. Like, no, like they seem like almost like slightly embarrassed kind of, because they're like super hip hop heads and they're like from Phoenix. Yeah. So they were almost like, nah, like who do we have out here, bro? Like, should I be? And I'd be like, hey, bro, you can start with me. Like, here's my info. You know what I mean? But it was like eye-opening that I'm like, bro, like obviously these are like the biggest cats in the underground, but it's still like, it's that underground music, and you see all types of people rapping around the block to go see this by the thousand. But you would never see something like that for a local show. Back in the day, I hear you, it was more like that. But that's the thing. People aren't tapped in because since everyone's so isolated, like I'm saying, it's not like people are all next to each other all the time. Yeah. Ideas aren't exchanging as freely. Word of mouth doesn't spread as quick. So you kind of have a lack of like scene and community, even though you have tons of people making music and you have tons of people who like this type of music, but it's a total disconnect. And we don't have like radio stations don't fuck with us. We don't really have like OGs in like places of power. Like that's what I say we're the fourth biggest city, but you compare us to all these other places and we lack all of that. Like we're like a similar, like when you compare the Atlanta metro to the Phoenix metro, it's similar size, but they have such a rich history there that there's so many fucking DJs and radio people.
I was just down there about 2 weeks ago, and it's beautiful for that shit.
Yeah, and it's not all trap. Like if you've been there, you know that. Like Griselda was based out of Atlanta for a long time. They got the controllerized shit going down over there, which is like, lo-fi hip hop anime vibes and shit. Like that's what I'm saying. But here we just lack that. Like, so it's hard for it to build. And then I think artists, basically it gives artists a lack of direction, because you feel like people, it's easy to get like, I see so many people, because I used to host shows out here. Like before COVID, I would do monthlies and shit, put on all types of artists, not charging anyone. I would strictly do people that I fuck, because that's my name on the show. I'm like, I want my show to have a reputation. You come to my shit, you're going to see some dope shit tonight. Like that was how I approached it. But bro, like so many of those people I haven't even like heard from like since COVID type of shit. Like I haven't seen them post music, nothing. And it's like you got to be an artist to be an artist, but at the same time, it's easy to get discouraged in a place like this where it kind of feels like you're just grinding away. You know what I mean? Right. That people don't really end up putting together a big body of work that you need to succeed, because you can't just put out, like I put out Draco, and I think it's a great album. I think it's definitely, you know, one of the best projects to come out of Phoenix, if not the best project to come out of Phoenix. I think very highly of myself and my work. But
it's dope.
I didn't put that shit out last. Well. You know, I got to give the world. It's like when Griselda was talking about coming out of Buffalo. It's like we had to go extra hard. We had to put out like 3-4 projects a year, and that's what it's going to take out here. I really think, unless there's just like some serendipitous thing, you meet someone, da da da. If there's going to be like some grassroots shit out here, someone has to put together that body of work, and no one has done that yet. You know what I mean? And me with Rarified Air and what we're doing, we're striving to be the first motherfuckers that actually do that. Because it's wide open out here. And as far as I see, like, we don't have no competition. We fuck with like people in the scene. So there's like, oh, that's not competition. That's like camaraderie. You know what I mean? Yeah. And as far as the people that like we're not really fucking with, like, bro, it's nah. Like, you know, and I'm not shitting on Phoenix by being like it's not close. I just know we got that shit. And I'm the only person in Rare Air who's from Phoenix. Everyone else are transplants. You know what I mean? I'm the only person that reps this and all of that. But we know what it's going to take. It's going to take a lot of shit. And that's why we got everyone on the same page. People aren't putting out videos like, you know, the Draco by the Bedside video, making their own covers like I made, like just basically doing everything in-house when we don't have the money, when we don't have the resources. We're able to, everything you see coming out of what we're doing is 100% in-house. We don't hire out. We don't do nothing like that.
That's the way to do it, because there's so many times independent artists hit me up for a cover, and I'm like, I give them what is I consider a very low price, and I'm just like, it's just because I'm like, I might as well do it. You know, a few bucks, never hear from them again. I'm like, it's like if you're not an artist, it's like they're not willing to commit even that small amount for their art because they're that unconfident in their ability to actually generate anything off of it. Or it's I don't know. So you got to do it all yourself. And it's,
I mean, to me, it's like, bro, people, to me, it's delusional that people try to get into music, like to make money.
Right.
Like,
yeah, I feel the same way. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you are like a hustler, like what are you doing in the music game, bro?
Right.
Like this is terrible, bro. Learn how to sell stocks, learn real estate. Like you have $1 million, bro. Drive Uber. I got homies who drive Uber who are killing it, bro.
The walls of the music industry have been stripped of their copper for quite some time. It's like,
yeah, exactly. Like no, bro, they're not handing out no fat advances. Like none of this is going on. Streaming ain't shit unless you got like a huge following. So you got to amass a huge following. So basically, it's like I knew I wasn't gonna like. I'm not going to start turning a profit on Rarified Air by the end of 2023, most likely, considering it's October right now, of course. Yes. So leading up to this, I was like, bro, what am I doing spending all this money on like beats and studio time and this and that? Like, if I see any money back on this, it's going to be so far down the road. And it's like, bro, you got to sustain in life, like along the way. Like you got regular shit going on. And at the end of the day, it's like we live in a very accessible age and a very technological age. People may not have time to do everything, but I was lucky that I started learning a lot when I was like, you know, fairly young in the game. You can do all this shit, bro. I didn't go to school for none of this shit. I learned how to mix, edit videos, make album covers, all of that off of YouTube. You know what I mean? Like
I just did a song like maybe a year or two ago with Razcast and Young Dirty Bastard and Elza. I recorded it right here on a microphone that I bought in around 2004 off of a computer that I bought from around 2008 using the second Pro Tools M-Box they ever made. It's like, and it sounds, my producer just cleaned it up a little and it sounds great. It's like, no, like our phones have better recording equipment than the Beatles ever had. Like there's really no excuse to not be able to do it yourself.
Facts. Bro, that whole Draco by the Bedside album, bro, I recorded that whole joint. I actually just upgraded my mic because one of the Rare Air homies actually gifted it to me. Shout out. But bro, I recorded the whole Draco by the Bedside album on a $60 Chinese mic. You would never know, bro. Like to me, that shit sounds like it came out of a studio. Everyone I played it for, like,
I thought it sounded great. Yeah, it sounds beautiful.
Yeah, like music is subjective, but it's like if you're not being an asshole, like that shit sounds good. That shit does not like, you know. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. So that's the thing, bro. That's why we do everything ourselves, because it's like even, you know, you can spend a lot of money getting places in the game, but at the same time, even if that works out, you then got to recoup that money. It's like if you put,
Exactly.
if over the past 5 years you've spent, 10K on all this different shit, that's why I like spending money on like travel, because it's like, you know, you got to travel, like even just like as a person. So it's
Yeah.
like you can,
Yeah.
I don't look at that as like money spent. It's like I'd be wanting to go to these places anyway. This gives me excuse to travel. But if you're spending, thousands of dollars over years, even once you start getting to a place of attention, you're now like in the hole. You know what I mean? Best case scenario. So it's like I said, bro, there's a very small percentage of people that it works out for. And basically it's not even being pessimistic. It's just being like, that's the way you got to approach it, in terms of you're not just going to start making money on this all of a sudden, and you got to be able to do this sustainably. And if you don't have some really plush job that you can just use to finance everything you want, then yeah, you're not going to be able to sustain. You can't just keep, especially if you got kids, bro. Like my
And
homies who
even
got kids, like, you would feel
I
crazy
don't
like
have
putting
kids. Yeah.
thousands of dollars into your fucking rap videos, and like your kid
Exactly.
wants like Christmas gifts. You know
Right.
what I
As
mean?
somebody
I don't have to
who's
worry about that, but I think about shit like that.
oh yeah, dude, I'm 44. I have no kids. I have two cats, and it's like, yeah, so it's like I can kind of, I may not have anybody to take care of me when I'm old, but I can kind of spend a little extra money now on my rap.
Yeah,
It's
bro,
like,
you can fucking go buy whatever the fuck you want. Like that's your money. You fucking did it. But it's like, bro, I don't know, man. I can't. I can't be sinking money into shit like that. But to me, it's
right.
like
And
it's like you
it's
saw, bro. Like people are gonna see when they check out the video I dropped, bro. Like you will not believe the shit that we
yeah.
get done. Like
I
in
was
from
very
people who are really just musicians at core. I don't even really. I just learned to do the videos because I couldn't pay other people to do the videos. So I just learned, bro.
yeah.
Like this is my first time using After Effects. Like.
Yeah, it's funny. I just finished my first music video that's dropping from my EP. I probably around this time for my song These Trees Have Eyes. And so like I've been really into learning how to do more video. I went to film school, but it was like 30 years. Like literally we were cutting and pasting film, like we were scotch taping film together back then. I didn't learn anything on a
Bro, no,
computer.
that's insane.
Yeah, it
I
was
remember
the
hearing legends of those
yeah,
days. I'm like, no,
that's
it
what
can't
I
be
did.
real.
So like so I'm now learning so I know how to edit the psyche, how you edit, but I'm learning how to do it digitally. And it's like what you achieved in this video is so dope. Like talk about, so is this, what was the name of the song? Is it actually Draco by the Bedside? Is the track name as well?
Yeah, yeah, that's the track name. So that's how the album came together. So I explained how good boy. But no, I explained how the album came together, like creatively, conceptually. But yeah, the title just came from just a lyric I wrote to one of the tracks, which ended up being like the first track. And so I called the track Draco by the Bedside because I thought that sounded hard. And then I was like, I could just be the whole album, and it just like sets the tone right. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because the opening lyric is spit the shit to make a dove cry, make a call and run the plug dry, crack the jar and let the nug dry. They say the money like a drug, I ain't a tough guy. That's the reason why I tuck a Draco by the bedside.
Yeah.
So like it's not even so like when you listen to it, it's like a hard album, but at the same time, it's like, I'm not claiming to be the most like gangstest motherfucker type of shit. Cause it's
Right,
like that's why
right.
you have a Draco. I'm not fucking Jason Statham. You run up on me, I'm keeping a 30 clip for that situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I like the line you had about how you stopped. I forget the exact wording, but how you stopped. COVID stopped you to like on spending on clothes and shit. I kind of can relate to that a little bit as well.
yeah, because I wrote the whole album in like 10 days or something like that, which is pretty fast work for me. I usually don't necessarily work that quickly. But yeah, no, it was around that time. Like, things have been slow getting everything together. We're streamlining the production. But yeah, a lot of that shit's, that's like older me. But yeah, man, that's what it is. I had enough shit. I was like, I'm not going out right now. This don't make no sense. So it's like, yeah, there's a lot
Right.
of there, like I love the culture, but at the same time, there's like subtle little critiques like here and there, because I can do that because like I said, I've been in this my
Yeah.
whole life. So
So talk about that video a little bit, because that by the time this is out, it'll already been released. The editing on it
yeah,
is
definitely.
really dope. It's smooth. I guess I'm talking about it like people who have already seen it, but just the way that it's cut and the way it's all like, I know some of the tricks. I was looking at that going, I don't know how I would do that. Like, so was that you that edited that, or did you have someone else do it?
No, I did all the editing.
Damn.
Yeah, I did 100% of the editing on the video. Just basically just looking up like effects I see in other music videos, and then just like looking up tutorials on like how to do them, and then just like following it. You know, I mean, I got a pretty sturdy computer, so it's up to the task most of the time. Um, but yeah, it was definitely a learning process. Everything I do is always like a learning process, more or less.
What I've learned now to use is I use Chat GPT for a lot of that stuff, where I just ask it like in clear language, how do I do this? And the responses it gives me, like it's really cut down my learning time on stuff like Premiere Pro. It cuts the
Oh
heart
yeah,
of it, and they're on a bunch of ads, and I don't have to watch a bunch of videos.
yeah. No, I definitely watch a lot of videos. Like once you find one person, once you find someone with like a
Yeah.
good YouTube channel, then you can usually get some good info and shit. At
Yeah,
least
it's like
like
you find the
to get some
person with like the camera quality is right, and you can actually understand what they're saying, and you're like, all right, cool. It's like, oh, man, it's just so beautiful. Like when I was a kid, all we had was the freaking Dewey Decimal System. Like it's amazing now, like what we have in terms of knowledge and how quickly we can learn things, and still how
Yeah, no,
much
I
so many people
definitely.
choose not to. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, no, I definitely put that to work. That's why I'm grateful that I like knew that I wanted to do this music shit early on. So I was able to start putting in a lot of work on stuff that you know, would be a lot if I was trying to learn it right now, like this late in the
Yeah.
game. You know what I mean?
So in
But
terms of getting on stage, what was your path to getting on stage? Because that is a tricky thing. It's like when you're just starting out in a bedroom, you don't even know what those steps are. So what was it like for you?
um, you know what? Hold on one sec. Let me move you can see the
That's
sun
cool.
setting on us right now. So why don't I get a slight better lighting real quick? Let me move
That's
inside.
cool.
Hold up. We'll edit this.
That's cool. I got it.
All
Where's my notes?
right, cool. Here's a good backdrop. Boom, boom. Oh, sick. Ah, yes. Yeah, Phoenix sunsets are a motherfucker, bro. They're like 15 minutes. It goes from like bright as fuck to literally like dead out in like a very short period of time.
I haven't been out there in years. I used to go out to Scottsdale a bunch on business, and it would be out there in the summer for like conferences, and I'd see these motherfuckers in wool suits, and they're just, I swear they're
Yeah.
pretending that I'm like, my skin is literally like burning off of me.
But shit, what you were asking about let me retrain my thought real quick.
Oh, how you first got what your path was
Oh,
to
how I
getting on
got, yeah,
stage.
okay.
Yeah. How you figured out
Yeah,
that conundrum.
yeah, it was yeah, I'm still, yeah. Let me think. Because honestly, I don't even do that many shows these days. Because, like I said, the scene hasn't been that active, so I've been kind of taking a back seat. Honestly, I just did. Basically, I can kind of sum up my resume. I started doing open mics out here that I could find, and basically one of the open mics was pretty consistent, and I ended up getting cool with the owners there. It was a bar. I started doing it like I was around like 19, 20 though. So they were like, the guy who was doing it was real cool and was yeah, he was down to let me in and all of that. And then after a while I started hosting a monthly there, like I've mentioned before, like booking my own artists as people who I thought were dope because I got tired of getting on. They weren't exactly open mics, but like little local joints, and there was like no cohesion. I thought most of those people were pretty whack. And I was like, I can't tell my people to come out and like,
Right.
watch me for 15 minutes among a bunch of bullshit. So that's how I had the original idea of starting to put together my own shows with like people I actually fucked with from the scene. Because I was like, I bet there are other people that probably feel similar. And we had a real good motion with that. Like we were having shows where we would have like 100 people in the bar type of shit turning up, which is like I said, that's like kind of a lot by Arizona
Yeah.
standards, by Phoenix standards for like some local shit. And then yeah, COVID just killed it, and then things just never really rebounded from there. But through basically just doing what I was doing, and even just some of the open mics, this and that, I did end up getting a few opening slots for like RA the Rugged Man,
Sweet. I
Terminology.
opened for RA too.
There you go, bro. Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
opened for RA twice. RA and Afro once, and then RA another time on his own, I believe.
Nice.
Um,
RA is
but
amazing.
yeah,
Just
we have a
absolutely.
great when we are talking hip hop in Phoenix. I would be remiss to not give a shout out to my good people over at Trill, who are fucking incredible. Because it was actually Chuck who basically put me on those shows through a mutual friend, the same mutual friend that introduced me in Salute, basically. And yeah, if you're not familiar with Trill, y'all need to check that shit out because we have a hip hop shop out here. That's the only thing it can be described. It's a hip hop shop. They sell records, sneakers, spray paint, streetwear, like hip hop collectibles. You need a Sean Price action figure, like
Right.
any shit like that. They have everything. And the floor space is huge, like, because it's
Just
Phoenix, you know what I mean? It's not New York where it's like everything's
right.
all cramped.
Just for
Huge
like
floor space.
for young people getting in the scene, like just FYI, like those are the places that if you go and hang out and don't steal shit and meet the people there, that is your door into that scene. Because it's like those
Yeah.
people, they deal with, you know, if you own like a hip hop store, that means that you're dealing with places like Rhyme Sayers. It's like you have relationships, they have business relationships. These people, we've talked about degrees of separation. This is like where your culture exists and where you should be supporting, like where you should be buying your records, not from Amazon. And I'm trying to lecture people
Yeah.
here. This is your door in. And like by going
No, talk
there
your
and
shit.
showing them support and like doing them, you get to know these people and then they show it's like that's how love is shown in hip hop. So like that's where if you're young and you're looking for a way in, that's where you'll find your people. And like that's where they'll teach you what the scene is like there. So
100%, bro. And it's underutilized, bro. Like
yes.
they're doing very well over there. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, they're always getting new shit and expanding. Like they have all sorts of, big artists come through. It's incredible. But at the same time, when I was like, chopping it up with people in like the line at the concerts, like Wu-Tang and NBA Leather and all that sort of stuff, when I would say, oh, you don't know local artists, whatever, have you ever been to Trill? Have you heard of Trill? And they hadn't heard of that shit. And I would describe it to them and they were like, what? Like they couldn't believe their ears. Like, this is in Phoenix? Where, bro? I'm like, bro, fucking 20th Street and Indian School, bro. Like right over there. It's like in the middle of the city. It's not like, it's like fucking, yeah, bro. It's right in the neighborhood. You know what I mean?
That's so
But people
wild to
don't
me
know
'cause
about it. But at the same time, one of my favorite moments, like some of my favorite like things I've witnessed over at Trill is like, for example, I saw a kid in there who's probably like 13 or some shit, like with his parents, and he was like spending his Christmas money on getting like a Merce box set, or like a bunch of Merce
dope.
like tapes and like this and that. Like, more like kids need to be in there and like fucking with it and shit. 'Cause like I said, when I go to those lines, I don't see it, but I see stuff like that sometimes, and that's beautiful. But that's what I'm saying. I can't comment on I can't just point out the things we're lacking in the scene. I got to show, because that's just focusing on negativity. Because what we have in Trill, they don't have that in LA or like Atlanta or nowhere like that. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So like anytime someone comes through here, like they're always doing shit at Trill. You know what I mean? Whoever
like,
it is, like legends
if,
hanging up there.
if there isn't one of those places in your city, it's like then that is maybe what your destiny is to create, because it's like that with there is sort of a build it and it will come. Obviously, it takes a lot of money to launch a business and all that stuff, but like
But I've seen it scale the fuck
undergroundhiphop.com in
up.
Boston did that shit. And they really brought a lot of artists to Boston. It's like we got to meet people like Immortal Technique, and it's like those places that if you can get into the community, they really can do well, and they bring a lot of culture in. It's there needs to be a pipeline geographically where you are to the rest of the hip hop scene if you want to make any sort of really way in, and you
I
want
wouldn't
to
even say geographically. I would just switch it to say you need a pipeline to the canon, as I call it, of hip hop. Like in like TV shows and comic books, there's the canon, like the shit that there's a little spin-off shit, but it doesn't really matter. That's kind of what it is in hip hop. It's like
because the world is small.
You got to be somewhat connected to the. What you say?
The world is small once you get into it, because it's like
that's what I'm saying. You got to be part of that world. You got to be part of that world, and that's why I always knew I had like a shot and a leg up, because I was always able to kind of get past that a little bit. Like, I don't know. Like, I've been friends with Billy Woods since I was like 18 or something like that. Well, like, there's no reason that like, okay, I like just through his music, like,
Yeah.
just like, there's no reason kids in Phoenix like should be like hanging out with Billy Woods in New York and shit like that,
Yeah.
or like getting their music played on Shade 45 or that type of shit. And that's what like meant something to me, because it wasn't because I listened to so much underground music. To me, the stamps, like the stamp of approval, was never about like numerical milestones. It was always about like who's rocking with you. You know what I mean? Because I listened to a lot of cats that they might have not been super popping or super popular, but they would still have respect from a lot of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think kind of just playing off of what you said, I think you need a connection to the, you need a pipeline to the rest of the culture. It don't even got to be geographical. It's just got to be, people have to be connected. You know what I mean? Because if you say Phoenix, trust me, I've been around, bro. People don't. Bootleg Kev's gonna be the only cat you can really name who like is gonna like ring any type of bells, and that's a podcaster. That's one podcaster. Right. There's no artist. There's no like. I know you a real hip hop head, bro. Like, you know anything coming out of Phoenix?
No, I don't. I was trying to think about it earlier today, and I couldn't think of anything.
Exactly, bro. And you had a cat from Juneau, Alaska on here before you had a cat from Phoenix.
No, yeah. Well, then again, I was waiting for your cassette to arrive, so like,
no,
but part of it.
I get you. I'm making a cheap point. You know what I mean?
I know. I'm just
like, Phoenix is and that's no dig at Juneau, Alaska. That's saying big ups. Y'all are doing. You know what I mean? Y'all are way smaller, and y'all are still making it happen. So I'm like, how are we? Bigger than Philadelphia? Shit, whatever. Any other cities you can list, San Francisco, Oakland, all these types of places.
That's all opportunity, though, I guess. I mean, because
all those places that I mentioned, they're really culturally rich. You know what I mean? All like predating hip hop.
Right.
You know what I mean? Oakland, like they had the Black Panthers. San Francisco, they had all types of other shit. They had,
Arizona's not known for their culture. Yeah. I think if I picture art from Arizona, I sort of picture like a turquoise something. It's like you don't like
Native American shade,
but it's like it's not like there isn't it's Native American, and it's like that doesn't tie really in much with
there's no modern it's not really there's no sort of like contemporary culture, I should say. That's all like like traditional in a very grand sense, not like hip hop not the hip hop
American traditional.
Yes, like ethnic traditions, like this is our people, like that's a lot that's a whole different thing. Yeah, but it's funny because there's other music, like Alice Cooper's from Phoenix. Chad, what was the Chester Bennington, the guy from Linkin Park? Rest in peace to Chester Bennington from Linkin Park. He was from here.
Seems like Phoenix is where a lot of people like to get arrested. I think Charles Barkley had his famous arrest out there. When Wayne
got knocked way back with the tour bus. That was where was it? That was in Surprise or some shit. Yeah, that was right outside of Phoenix.
Mike Tyson,
he was locked up out here in Maricopa.
I think Tyson got bagged out in Phoenix.
DMX.
What is the not to get too much in the politics of it, what is like the police situation like out there? Because I'm always curious in different cities, like because the police in the hip hop scene, unfortunately, run into each other a lot in a lot of scenes. I was almost thinking about how everybody gets Arizona DUI seems to be a very big deal out there.
Yeah, no, we're the strictest DUI state. Like it's not even close. We had fucking Joe Arpaio for a long ass time.
Yes,
and he's not worth giving everyone a whole history lesson about. You can easily
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. So
he got the pardon, and then whatever.
Yeah. So that was in response to way back in the day. Basically, there was like virtually no DUI laws, and there was a lot of bullshit going on back in like the 70s and shit. Right. So they ended up enacting very, very strict laws. But I mean, thankfully,
with no public transportation, stuff like that impacts the scene. I mean, not that I'm saying people should be driving drunk, but if people are scared,
honestly, that's a huge point. It alludes to what I'm saying. When you go to these other cities, you can go to New York, you can go out, get fucking wasted, hop on the subway and find your way home. Or don't find your way home. But, you can do that. Even when I was down in like Athens, Georgia, you know what I mean? Small city, but still very culturally rich right there. And I went out, we did a little show, and I was staying with someone in the city. And I was like, all right, how are we getting back to your crib? They're like, oh, we're walking. I'm like, bro, it's like a whole different vibe. Like
Yeah,
everyone like walked home afterwards. Everyone was like drinking, all of that. And I'm like, damn, this is just like it's just another reason to stay home in Phoenix. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
you can't really go out and like they make it difficult to party responsibly. Like, they don't make it, but just the city is not set up to party responsibly. It's not like I say, it's just a very antisocial climate, but people don't even realize it. Like if you're from here, because I'll know
right.
people that like grew up here and they've never really been around, or they've just been to Cali, and Cali is set up
Yeah,
somewhat similarly to
yeah, it's
AZ.
got a similar feel. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So I have to tell people, I'm like, bro, go to the East Coast, go to New York,
yeah.
go to even like Florida, where,
Check out a
I'm
tree
about
or
to
a
go.
snowflake. You know.
Yeah, like if you go to these places, yeah, you see that yeah, it's just set up a lot different. And that's part of what made me start to realize when I started traveling more as an adult. Because I traveled a lot as a child, but traveling as an adult, we were actually like maneuvering the cities and stuff and seeing how shit
Yeah.
works. I started noticing how different shit is. And I was already throwing shows and shit at this point. So I was always like thinking how to make it bigger, this and that. And I'll be trying to observe what's going on in these other cities. And I was noticing a lot of like non-parallels. You know what I'm saying? Where
Yes,
I'm just like,
yes.
oh, I wish we could do this. This wouldn't really work for X, Y, and Z reasons.
It also
So
opens your when you travel a lot around the country and the world, it opens your mind as to when you think of the really big superstars in music, like even like the Taylor Swifts or like, like the Little Waynes or stuff like that, that you think about like what it takes to actually appeal to that many different people. Because people even in New Hampshire are way different than people in Massachusetts. So like it's like to try to be that, it's like you have to, if you really want to be that, you really have to find a way to break down through all of that stuff if that is your goal, and that's a really tough thing to do, and it's why I think it's certain people is just that's
like,
who
I
they're
don't think you can
born to
even
be.
set that as a goal.
Right, it's
Like,
you're kind of
you
born to
can't
be that,
fucking,
it's like
nah, you can't. Bro, if you want to be Taylor Swift, good fucking luck, bro.
for better for luck there's
Like,
only one Kanye West, for better for worse.
yeah, yeah, for better or worse.
But
But
like
I mean,
there's so it's so much different culturally from just
it's
even
just
like
been like it's
areas.
been mind blowing to me how big Griselda's gotten, because
Yeah,
I
I
know I
know,
followed you
isn't
from
it?
way back in the day, so I'm sure you've probably been listening to them even
Yeah,
longer than
they're
me.
like a
I
mix of
started listening.
Wu-Tang and the Locks. It's like it's crazy that they've kind of just that I'm like
Yeah,
I'm
no,
glad
I
to know
thought they were,
it makes me feel good to know there's enough people out there to support them. They're into that. That's heartening.
bro. It's mind blowing to me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I mean, I've been a huge fan of theirs since I can't say day one, but since like 2015, like whenever like around Fly God came out, or like slightly before that. But I mean, I remember when Wes and all them had like 10,000 Instagram followers and shit, and were like sending out their merch like personally, like
Yeah.
their handwriting like on the packages and shit. And that music wasn't like, because I was making not super violent music like that, but very like sonically similar type of music, rapping on very similar type of beats.
Yeah.
And I would always hear from people like even like older heads or young whoever, they would just be like, "Oh man, like they see me perform and be like, your shit's really tight, but like, bro, you got to switch it up and have hooks and this and that, because like no one listens to that type of shit anymore." And I kind of like, to me, I just didn't care. Like I just kind of
Right.
accepted it for what it was. But I was like, damn, I think these guys are incredible, but I wonder, I just didn't see them having that level of like mass market appeal. And I
Right.
remember seeing them on Fallon when I knew they were going to go on there. And like my girl had been like, hearing me play their music in the car and shit for like years. She's like, bro, these fucking guys are on Jimmy Fallon. I'm like, bro, I know this shit is ridiculous. Like, but it's crazy because my man Billy Woods, he basically called it. I remember talking to him back in the day, and he was like, because he's a big like he's a rap aficionado himself. He's very up on everything going on. And I remember talking to them back like right when they inked the Shady deal. And I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like, how big do you think these guys can
Yeah.
get? Like Conway, this and that. And he was like, I could see Conway reaching like a Freddie Gibbs like type of level. And Freddie Gibbs was like way bigger than
Right.
Conway at this point now, not even. So that's
Right.
what's incredible. I was like, wow, you called that, bro.
Yeah.
But Billy Wood, same type of shit. He's not necessarily like a superstar like those type of cats, nor would he ever aspire to be. But the fact that, like I said, bro, like I reached out to him originally because I felt like he was so underappreciated that I was like, I reached out to him on some fan type of shit. And I think he replied to me saying, like, yo, this is my first piece of fan mail or some shit like that. This was like
That's a nice
almost 10
feeling.
years. It was like almost 10 years ago. And I remember asking him for like, some career advice or something at that point. Like, yo, what's funny general like jewels for what? Because obviously he wasn't super successful, but he was still doing
Right.
a lot
Yeah.
fucking better than I was.
Here's the
So I
stuff.
was like,
Yeah.
you got any
Yeah.
gems? And he was like, bro, you shouldn't be asking me. Like, I'm like, barely getting by type of shit. And then over the coming years to see him be in, Rolling Stone magazine, playing Pitchfork, fucking making albums with like The Alchemist and shit. Now it's like, nothing would
Yeah.
surprise me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's incredible. Like as I said, like if you want to be as big as Taylor Swift, good luck. And obviously the people I mentioned, because that's my thing. Nobody really thinks. Sorry, whoever's watching, I don't think I'm going to set our target demographic here. Taylor Swift is not like supremely talented, like by
No, no,
almost
no.
anyone's like definition. The people I'm mentioning are supremely
Right. Well,
talented.
it's even like when they
But
give you that
the
advice,
point
like,
is, it's luck and connections and experience to get to that type of level. But it's crazy because I've actually seen people who I thought were extremely talented, but I didn't know how big they would get. Honestly, I remember when Anderson .Paak was signed to Stone's Throw, like before he
yeah.
linked with Dre and all of that. Like same type of shit. Like I've seen it happen so many times from people that are like so low, but I'm like, holy fuck. Kali Uchis. Kali Uchis was another one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who has blown up to like be a huge, huge star. And I remember finding her on like SoundCloud and shit. So it just goes to show that it's like, yeah, you can't really aspire to that type of superstar level, like real superstar, Taylor Swift, Kendrick Lamar, that type of shit. But not obviously Kendrick's talented too. Not saying he's Taylor
Right.
Swift,
Yeah.
but um, that takes so many like very very far basically off of raw talent and just
Right.
like output. Because you got to put it out. Because I've also seen very talented people just they'll have amazing songs and beats sitting on their hard drive. They'll have
It takes
unfinished
more than
art
just talent. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you got to put it out. Those are the two most important things. And honestly, output is more important than talent. You could just be putting shit out and you might get good along the way. Like if
Right.
you're super talented, but you're never sharing it, then it's never going to go anywhere. It's the definition of like a tree that falls in the woods. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and
No,
I've fallen
definitely.
into that for a while, but I'm coming out with a lot of shit right now. You know what I mean? Anyone who can check the YouTube, they'll see that like, we've been coming with the videos, leading up to Draco and then even after Draco, you know what I mean? We're always posting content on there. So, I mean, yeah, that's what it's going to take. I feel like we got the talent. I really believe in all the folks that I'm rolling with. My boy Salute, my boy Arnhem, my boy Dr. LaFlo. Like, these are people I've always really believed in. My boy LaFlo, I've been making music with him through SoundCloud since I got on SoundCloud like 10 years ago. That's like why I was saying I've been lucky that I think LaFlo is one of the greatest producers I've ever heard. And this dude was giving me beats when I was recording bullshit, like when I was like 15, like sending him the first joints I ever recorded that are like I would never show anyone today type of shit. I was
Yeah.
like, yo, like I made this. Can we work together? And he was like, yeah, sure. Like,
Yeah.
just let me know what beat you want. I'll send you whatever. And we've just been like working together ever since. Didn't meet till years later. And now we're like, best of friends. And he's coming out to Phoenix now. He's based out in Florida. But he just pulled up here right now in October. So we're like hitting a whole
Nice.
nother gear right now. And my boy Arnhem just got involved, who I just met earlier this year through Shrill, but he's super about it. He's super multi-talented, makes some killer beats. You're going to hear us on a lot of his production. But yeah, man, output and my bad, not output and consistency, talent and consistency. Yeah, like that's the most important thing.
Definitely.
So my thing, just one last thing on that is just like, at the end of the day, I want to have, not that I want to be salty, but I want to have a justification of being salty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to be able to look at my resume and be like, look what the fuck I did, bro. Like, how did
Yeah.
they not recognize, bro? Like, how am I not X, Y, and Z? You can't do that if,
If you
you've
suck.
put out 3 albums in the last 5 years. Like,
Right.
that's just never going to get it done.
It's funny
So,
too. You made the comment too about the people that are like, make that, got to add a hook. I do stuff like that. Those are
I
people.
don't hear that no more.
Right. Usually the advice that like people when they're given that's because they're used to hearing like the Taylor Swifts and stuff, and that's what they think. It's like, no, you're going for a music of people that are going to emotionally connect with you. So like, take advice when someone goes, hey, your friggin' your reverb is too high. But like when it comes down to like something that's a reflection of your soul, be very careful who you take the advice from. Because
Yeah, no, because that's the thing. It would even be people who are like, yo, bro, I love Wu-Tang. I love all that shit. But like, You know, that was back then, bro. No one wants to hear that no more. I really believe in your talent, so I just want to like see you succeed. And I was just like, bro, you care. I think you care more about me like succeeding. I think you care about it more than I do. Like, I just want to
Success
make the
doesn't
music
mean
I
the same
like.
thing to say. And it's like the
Yeah,
Wu-Tang symbol is now what the Rolling Stones tongue when we were younger. That's
yeah,
how much it
but
is
it's
around. It's the biggest thing. It's like to say people don't care about Wu-Tang anymore is fucking insane.
but the way that people like Griselda have proliferated the culture and everything,
Yeah.
I never hear comments like that anymore because everyone just accepts that this
That's
is
a good
a,
point. Yeah.
viable lane and type of music. And now like there's hella Kendrick songs don't have hooks and shit
Even
like
like
that.
Mad
Kendrick has
Villainy.
alchemist beats, like,
When
but no,
more and
that was
more,
my thing. Yeah, Matt
yeah,
Villain's huge now. But back in the day when I was listening to Doom, when he wasn't quite as big, he was my favorite rapper. And I love that
yeah,
he would just rap with no hook. Cause like rap hooks can be hit or miss a lot of the time from people
right.
who like really can spit. So I was like, bro, like you don't gotta repeat the shit. Just rap for like the song can be a minute and a half. Like, you know what I mean? Just take those filler parts out, shorter to the point, even if it has a 5 minute Spider-Man intro or whatever.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that was my thing. I wanted to rap like MF Doom, or like I appreciated that type of song structure. I just wanted to like go off, just basically, even like bro, my favorite shit, like growing up on a whole different like side of the game, but similarly artistically, I was like on just like everyone growing my age growing up, avid Lil Wayne fan. And like his fucking like Carter 2 and like Carter 2 is clearly better than Carter 3. I always have to put that out there. But the like mixtapes like The Drought and Dedication and shit like that, he's just rapping. And that was my
Yeah.
favorite shit, just the punchlines, like all that type of shit. So that's what I wanted to do. But it's been crazy to see this shit come full circle where it's like other people have just like gone and completely legitimized what a lot of people like me do. And it can be a little oversaturated now, you know what I mean? But you know, you can't be Goldilocks. You know what I mean? Everyone was always complaining no one's making music like this. Now we're like, oh, now too many people are making music like
Right.
this. You know, it is what it is. It's never going to be the absolute perfect balance, but you just got to do it the best you can. Like, not everyone's, you know, just because it's a viable lane doesn't mean it's for everyone or that the music shit's for everyone. But you just got to do it. Work, you know, just do what you do. That's
The
all
other
like we
problem
care about. And I just know I have an audience for it now because I go to NBA Leather and I see that line around the block of people, you know, my age, younger, older, and right here in my neighborhood. And they don't even know about fuck not knowing about me. They don't know about Trill, no local artists, no nothing. So I'm like,
Right.
bro, there's so much potential to grow right here. And it's right in our backyard.
That's where too when you realize something like that, I'm talking about you in general, but somebody who's hearing this who wants to get somewhere should be realizing, oh, if I go to the people at Trill and offer my help to get the word out, that might make them happy and like me more. So there's someone out there who
Yeah.
could go to these nice people at Trill who I don't even know who the hell they are and go,
Yeah,
hey,
no, they're
I
nice as
made these
fuck. They're hella
flyers and I
chill.
pass them out for you guys. Like, and then that's a way in a door. Like, and you're helping the community and helping yourself. So
No, absolutely, bro. Absolutely. No, and they're like hella chill over there. It's like anyone can like, you know, go in and work with them. They welcome everyone with open arms.
one thing
So
too that's
yeah, people just
about
need to
hip
know
hop.
about it.
One
And
thing
there's a
too,
lack of coverage. I was just gonna say that when I talk about radio stations, this and
yeah,
that,
that
you
came
know,
up
there's
too.
no outlets, there's no coverage really. Like me and my boy Salute, we just started hosting interviews at Trill because, bro, this is my first since I put out Draco by the Bedside. This is the first interview I've done for it. And when we put it out, we were like looking at like, yo, who does some podcasts in the scene? Who's got like little,
Yeah.
you know, radio spot, whatever. There was like nobody, bro. And like there's a few people out, but like, you know what I mean? No one we were connected to, no nothing like that. So we started hosting our own interviews with like cats there because I knew that when I heard other dope music, I was like, yo, you probably got nowhere to go talk about this. And, you know, we can at least have a convo or whatever.
It's funny
Like,
you say that. I've been thinking about this. This came up a lot in a different episode of XL the Beast about how much Boston hip hop was hurt by not having radio, and I keep thinking about how that's still a problem to this day, and how there's got to be with all the technology we have, there has to be some way on the cheap to essentially make a radio station that could be kept going like
bro, you
24
can do it on
hours.
YouTube for like, yeah, you can do it on YouTube for like zero money. I've thought about starting one for Rarified Air because like between me and my constituents, like we have hours worth of music. You know what I mean? A lot of
But
it's
even
even like
just
instrumental. Like I'm thinking about just making a YouTube stream recycling. I mean, that's just for me. You could do it with, you know, any type. There's a lot of online, you know,
right.
radio shows. You know, a lot of people are a lot of people are doing it, but it's not. No one's doing really like a localized version.
Right. No
Like
one's
there have
really
been some
like
that have come and gone, but
it's also
you know,
segmented. Yeah. I guess it is really if you're motivated to find music these days, it's not that hard to find it. But one of the things I think that's a problem with the local hip hop scenes, and we gotta close out in a minute too, because it's getting late out here. But this was something I
yeah.
thought
Thanks for staying
when
up,
yeah,
bro.
no problem, man. That when you say if this is very true for at least me and my experience in the New England hip hop scene, when someone goes, "Oh, there's a hip hop show down the street," that's not usually enough information for me to know if I want to go. Because in my head, I'm like, I can think of 30 different types of hip hop. And if it's like if it's the flip side and you're like, oh, it's a punk show down the street, hearing the word punk gives me essentially enough to make a decent decision because I kind of know what I'm getting what I'm going to. I think that's true of even like a or typical like rock bar at a band. It's like with hip hop, you don't know what type of hip hop it's going to be, and I think that discourages new people to just go to different shows because it's like there are some people who are looking for something that sounds like Ja Rule, and there's some people that are looking for something that sounds like MF Doom, and I think it's hard to always know who those people are. I think hip hop is particular in that way. Do you think that's true on where you are?
Bro, this is a good place to round it off around. So I was actually I've been thinking about this shit recently, like with my boy Salute. It kind of plays exactly off what I was saying about the oversaturation. So I was talking about the underground hip hop, we'll call it, type of lane, like sonically. I'm not gonna be Goldilocks with that, like I said, but hip hop overall, it is completely oversaturated right now. You know what I mean? Because it's the biggest genre in the world.
It costs
And
nothing to be a rapper either. It's like if you want
yeah,
to be in
no,
a band,
exactly,
you at least have to
exactly.
buy a guitar.
It has the lowest cost of entry. It has the lowest cost of entry. I'm so grateful all the time that I don't have to deal with recording instruments. When I go on tour,
Right.
I don't gotta bring gear with
Oh
me. Like,
God, what a
you know,
nightmare. Like you're
yeah,
like
no,
screwing
exactly.
drum
Like,
sets together.
bro, I've had friends that have done that shit, and I'm just like, bro,
Looking
I
for an
have, I have
Allen
such
wrench in the ashtray.
I have such a luxury, bro. Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the entry is so low, but the thing is, honestly, that's good. You can't be, that's the other thing. You can't be Goldilocks because it's like, it shouldn't really have a level of entry.
Right.
You shouldn't have to buy your way in monetarily. In theory, in a perfect world, and how I thought of it coming up as like, especially like a little white kid in hip hop, literally little kid, you know what I mean? I felt like I had to like super like pay my dues and I had to know like everything about everything because I always expected like
Relate.
some
Yeah.
super OG hip hop head to like jump out around the corner when I was wearing like a Biggie shirt. Like, no, you don't know, like, you know what I mean? So like
Which
nothing
is
that would
funny
ever
because and
actually
most
happen.
often
But
I've actually found the opposite. I remember when I was a kid, I'd feel the same way. But when I did find myself like 14 years old, little chubby white kid wearing that Biggie shirt, and some random dude went by me, it was always love they showed me. It wasn't that whole like, what are you doing wearing it? And so it's like part of that I think is just in our own heads. We're like, should we be wearing this?
oh, yeah, no, I'm gonna reframe it because I'm glad you said it like that. It wasn't even a level of like self-consciousness. It was like for like me personally, like an ego level. It was the fact that, and I wasn't even 14. By the time I was 14, bro, you wouldn't be able to tell me shit because I knew more about hip hop than like damn near anyone you would like run into. 14, I was fucking impeccable. But
Yeah.
I'm talking when I was like 8, like 10, like you know what I mean? When obviously, who the fuck is gonna what kind of grown man's gonna hassle a fucking 10-year-old on his shirt?
That's
I'm
true.
10. This is in my head.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking I need to do that because like I'm like a poser otherwise. Like for anything, it would be like you don't want to. It doesn't have to be music. Like, video games, basketball, this or that. Like you want to. I don't know. I feel like you want to have like your place in it, like have your seat at the table and be like justified. You know what I mean? But shit, I'm getting off topic just a tiny bit, but that's my point. The cost of entry, that's not necessarily a problem. That's overall a good thing. That's why I'm able to do all this shit I can. I would have a video like I just made for Draco by the Bedside, that wouldn't have been possible to do like 10, 15 years
Oh
ago.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
in my same type of situation. That would fucking cost tens of thousands of dollars.
It's like
But
even though there's no cost of entry, it's like stand-up comedy. You still got to make them laugh, and with rap, you still got to get them to hit replay. It's
yeah,
like
so
it's
shit. So not to ramble, but your point with the show. See, this is why I'm better with YouTube and shit. I can't do the social media 120 characters, that shit. But it's like you said, the game is so oversaturated at this point that there's so much going on that it's like there shouldn't be Like, so when someone's at the punk show, you know what the fuck you're expecting. And that's also like kind of a tight-knit subculture. Now that this is the biggest thing in the world, everyone is doing it, and they're doing it a million different ways that you don't, you know,
Right.
you don't know what you're getting into. Like, it shouldn't be, it's more like, yeah, it's like saying I'm going to a rock show, but you don't know if it's like blues or indie rock or metal, or like people would distinguish. Like for me, you should, like, hip hop has definitely surpassed the point where it needs to be distinguished the same way rock is.
Right.
I don't even feel like that's a fucking profound take. I feel like everyone should kind of
There's
know
as
that.
many
Like,
different types of hip hop as there are different types of movies, sort of. And it's like, I think it's
yeah.
It's like, because hip hop can be so many different things.
Yeah, so that's the thing. That's so, like I said, that's why when I started trying to do shit in the local scene, I decided I just wanted to have something that was a specific flavor for a specific type of person. Not have it be too, like, you don't want everything sounding the same. I would always have 4 MCs, 4 beat makers. Like, at least, there would be that difference off top. But I would try to have my shit a little bit varied. But it's like I'm saying, yeah, with the local shit, yeah, it can fall into that, I suppose. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, everything's kind of blending together. And yeah, when you're trying to put shit that's cool when things are on a very established level, but when you're just starting out, you need to be able to, set yourself apart and people know what they're getting into and shit.
Especially when it's a bunch of people in the flyers just trying to look cool. You're just like,
no, I mean, that's bullshit. Yeah, you can't have people. That's what fucks up scenes, bro. Like, I've had public disagreements with like the people who run those type of, like the guy who runs like most of the shit out here on that type of tip. I've had public disagreements with him. We're personally on cool terms. Like, we have a personal respect, but he knows how I feel. You can look up. We have another podcast way back in the day, me and him talking about it a little bit. But because the reason I'm against it is I really feel like that fucks up the scene. Because I remember being in high school, going to shows and really thinking the people that bought onto these shows, I didn't think they bought on. I thought it was really like we were just scraping the barrel in Phoenix to like get anyone like on the stage. Little did I know people like like I said, not long before that, people were getting signed and all types of shit like that. So I think that fucks up the scene, because that's me being literally like someone who wants to be a rapper, like even as a kid already recording music. If you're just like a casual fan in the scene, or even someone who's just like looking for shit to do, like even just like socially, like you don't even have to be a huge music fan. You can still come to the show and buy tickets and buy some drinks, have a good time, and that helps the scene. Yeah, I think it fucks it up when it just becomes it's almost like a Ponzi scheme. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I've done it numerous times before, and it's hard to sell CDs to somebody who's trying to sell a CD to you. And that's
exactly. Exactly. And I say it's a Ponzi scheme because at the end of the day, like, you can say there's a product because there's an event, but an event is supposed to be, at the end of the day, it's supposed to be a good time.
Right.
Like, people are supposed to be going there who have no staked interest, just to have a good time. You know what I mean? So if it's all just a bunch of people who sold tickets to each other, it's like, wait, this isn't actually a party.
It's like
this
gathering
is all just like us passing money around with each other, and then one guy holding people involved
in transactions.
Bro, I found that shit out. I found that shit out when I was 17, bro. I bought onto a show one single time when I was 17. I paid to open for Vince Staples for like $100 or something. They wanted like whatever. I was like, I don't got that, bro. I'll give you 100. They were like, yeah, sure, I'll take whatever you got. And then when I got to the show, bro, I might have even been 16 actually, but I realized when I got to the show, and Vince Staples isn't what he is now, or wasn't what he is now, but he was working with Earl. He had a good name. He was touring. And when I got there, I realized there were like no Vince Staples fans there. It was all just, the local bozos and shit. And I came to realize, I was like, oh, bro, there are like 10 other people who all put in their money, and these people probably gave what they were originally asking me.
Right.
Yo, they just made a few racks off top. Why even spend any money on promo, bro? Vince's fans don't even know he's in town. I've seen zero promo for this. That's why none of Vince's fans are here. It's not that Vince wasn't popping. It was that no one even knew about the show. It was just basically a Ponzi scheme event. I was 16, 17, did that my first times. I didn't know no one in the scene to get onto a show. So I was like, fuck it, I'll give it a try. And I immediately was just like, yo, this whole, the whole philosophy of how this work is just flawed. Like, how could this ever really be successful? This just seems like doomed to fail.
Right. Anybody who does know that Vince Staples is there also has been in those shows before and knows not to show up till later because they know it's going to be 2 hours of bullshit. Like, or at least.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, I I definitely wouldn't, yeah, do no shit
Yeah,
like that
you know what, to
again.
me the biggest red, I always love red flags. We can close on this, but like my favorite red flags of like opening acts that don't belong on stage. One is screaming at you to get closer to the stage. Like like that. Then there's the rapping over the beats that have the actual songs, not just the beats. That to me is an enormous red flag. um just like there's a bunch of things where you see them and you go, have you not seen numerous other people make these same mistakes? Like,
And the thing is, bro, if you can sell 50 tickets, and if you any of those people on the bill like know each other, like if you were somehow able to sell 25 to 50 tickets, and if you have a couple homies that can do that also, like you literally have no reason to fucking buy onto an event at this point. You know
exactly.
what I mean? It's like you can literally host your own show. Like I guess in that point there's like a pseudo headliner, but yeah, man, no, you don't have
But
no
if you're
reason
not meeting
to
new
do that. So
audiences, it's like, if you're not meeting new audiences, what's the point?
that's
It's
why I
like,
haven't been focusing on the shows as much lately, bro. You know, I get out and do some pop-ups, not really this summer because Phoenix is ridiculous with the triple digit heat.
yeah.
But yeah,
One
we
thing
started
about
getting
that
used to
too, it's
doing the
like
pop-ups and shit.
there's literally, I mean, for you, it's obviously a lot more people, but for me, I live in a town of 5,000 people. It's like, for me to concentrate so much on the people around me, or for anybody to concentrate so much on people in the driving distance, when you can concentrate in the entire world, like through digitally, it's like,
Are you
that's
like
what's good.
far from Boston?
I'm like 2 hours from Boston now. I'm
Oh,
like,
okay. Yeah, you're a
yeah,
ways away.
I have
Damn,
been
man,
moving.
Massachusetts is big.
Yeah, I lived in Boston for a while. I went to school in Boston. I just been gradually moving further and further out. When it
Bro,
came to
shout out to
COVID,
Boston, bro, because
yeah,
that's like another. That's another. Yeah, to round off, that's another example of when I talk about smaller cities that have made impact. Like even though, yeah, Guru went to New York, did his thing, still
yeah,
kind of rep Boston, especially later on.
Czarface.
Even back then, y'all had like Ed OG and
I
shit.
was playing Ed
Um,
OG's record yesterday, of his
yeah,
first
so y'all
record,
had
man.
that, and then as of lately, y'all been going crazy with like shout out SD Knack, Al Davino,
Yeah, Ed
my boy
OG, the
Hayes,
Bulldogs
Hayes
cassette
is
radio.
crazy. I bet you know about Hayes. He's a fucking animal.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. No, I mean, Static Selecta. He's from Boston, right?
yep, yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Peter Parker. Who Token? That dude. He was.
You know what? Okay. But you know what I'm saying? Like I have never been to Boston in my life. Oh, shout out Michelangelo. That's like he was actually, yeah, he was over here at the crib fucking not too long ago with Maze Overlay. Shout out Maze Overlay, my Phoenix homie, doing his thing out here. You should should definitely get him on the show and shit.
Yeah,
But that's my thing, bro. I can meet people from like random cities, and I'm like, bro, I could probably name 10 to 15 artists like from your cities. I'm gonna challenge you to name one from mine, and my
no.
city's way bigger and shit. We got NBA. We got four major sports teams here, biggest college in the country, like all of that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'll be damned if you can name one person out this motherfucker.
What's
You're
gonna
someone from Boston, Houston, wherever. I'll know people from where you're at. I can name so many people from Richmond, Virginia, bro. Virginia in general, I could name like 35 people from Virginia right now. I'll do that in part two when I come back.
Sounds good, man. You're welcome to come back. Last question. What's it gonna take for the Suns to win the NBA championship?
What's it gonna take? I think we've done pretty well on what it'll take. I think fucking bro. We just got raw firepower. You know what I
I'm getting a
mean?
Steve Nash vibe off you now. I'm just, as I'm looking at you, I'm just realizing.
Bro, I will come back and we can talk basketball forever, bro. I will tell you about how Steve Nash is the most fucking disrespected MVP. How
Oh
he's
yeah, yeah,
fucking
yeah. I'm with you, man.
the most underrated point guard. Bro, Nash is top three point guard. Like
He's amazing.
easy,
Yeah.
easy. But
Have you
nah,
been
bro,
watching
we're
Winning
gonna be
Time?
nasty. We're gonna be nasty this season, bro. The Nuggets are the Nuggets. Like they're amazing. But
I
as
had
long
a
as we come
Nuggets
out
jersey
firing,
on. I was wearing a Nuggets Iverson jersey right before I started, but it was too hot and it was uncomfortable, so I changed it. So
bro, yeah, Iverson's the hip hop staple, bro. I got my Iverson All Star jersey. I'll be rocking.
practice never
Bro,
gets
nah,
old.
he's a legend, bro. I'll come on here. We'll talk some real basketball, bro.
Yeah,
I'll definitely get back on here once you clear through your backlog. And I
yeah,
appreciate you staying up for
no
the
problem, man.
time difference and everything, bro. For real.
Yeah,
Glad we
it's
got to lock it
11:15.
in.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, man. So definitely check out Draco by the Bedside, and available I think I got this on Bandcamp. Is that where it was?
I got it everywhere. Yeah, it's everywhere
Everywhere.
right now.
Google it.
Yeah,
Unorthodox. I'm gonna have your
definitely check
information
out the
below.
video.
Yeah, they will be out. I'll have your information below your name the whole time. So
Yeah, man, I wouldn't expect any less. You're good at what you do, bro. You're definitely building a solid platform here. And like I said, this is my first interview since doing the on this album circuit. So I appreciate you giving a platform to the independent art. We really need a place to get our voice out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't have had you on if I
appreciate
didn't really dig the album. I really dug it, man. It was super dope.
Thank you, man. Thank you for putting your support behind it. And I fucking love that it's got your birthday right there on the album. That's fucking incredible. That's unbelievable. I love that.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Some motherfucking dub in that bitch. You feel me? You riding today. You riding this? We got sober. We got pills. We got honest. What up? Yeah, we got everything we need, man. Check. I'm not gonna say I'm a licensed, but let's just say I'm a professional. You feel me? Come on, let's go to some nice sunny days. Yo, hey, you know summer's coming when folks start getting shot and smoked on city blocks for low with any guap. Same shit, yeah, my first full gray hair. One more felony, I might have my first full gray beard. It's way weird. Feel like that was only yesterday. I'ma slowly blow like parolees, the homies guesstimate. When I blow, don't bro me like you know me, no hit the exit stage. Left of the tackle spray, redirecting your steps this way. It flows, shit progressing, got the steel with the vested. Even in the summertime, I will Smith and Wesson. You cutting from the grassy, so underground Nardwar wouldn't know what the fuck to ask me. I stick it in the stomach, now let me hit the throat. She call me Mr. Drummond, so many different strokes. Your punchlines, Mr. Drummond. Audience, Mr. Jokes. To your family, return from visit folks.
Some loving, some loving. That's just some loving. Some loving, some loving, some loving. That's just some loving. Meet Ann with wings clipped, quick to flip manuscripts. Cause her man went from damaged kid to damn he's rich. But she still can't stand the way he manages to never put nickels in the can for the cancer kids. Plus he cheats at cornhole and brags that he won. So she lost interest like porno after she comes. My DM started jingling baby as it was done. 2 seconds later I can hear the snapping of her gums. She calls me half Dodge Challenger, half Lip Gallagher. I'm happy that I luckily sat next to her in algebra. I tried to hold her down but I just couldn't balance her between the million meetings that I keep in my calendar. Plus odds aren't too sloppy that I know why my cell is blowing up probably, but I should check just as well. Call the cops, see if I can get a hold and tell if that's copyrights yell raising hell inside the holding cell. Some loving, some loving. That's just some loving. Some loving, some loving, some loving. That's just some loving.
Yeah, I can smell the smoke from the cookout. The bushes in the parks with the lookout. Fresh Prince, summertime on the radio. Throwback Friday, yo, the ladies know. Then I'm a smooth type guy. Listen, I'm the shit I need 2-time ply. Part of my soul on my head sky high. The weed smoke covered my body, so I try. Put a scent on like sunblock. Summertime's body season, so keep your gun cocked. I count beers in the cooler, cause when the fun stops, that's when the arguments happen. In the gunshots, it's summertime. Backyards where we play cards. Spitting in cipher, the homie trade bars. Dominoes slam on the table, we take charge. I got a style you can make large.